with the permission of Murshid, inshallah, and the Silsila, inshallah, I would like to open the majlis with a short Fatiha. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Al-Fatiha. A'udzu billahi minasyaitonir rajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin, arrahmanir rahim, maliki yaumiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdinas siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladzina an'amta 'alaihim ghairil maghdubi 'alaihim waladdallin. Amin. Bismillah. Alhamdulillah, we are all gathered here today for this blessed majlis of book launch. And we will be expecting our brother Fikri to be sharing a little bit about the book in a short while. So, Alhamdulillah, thank you so much for everyone for making the time to be here. Inshallah. May we begin? Bismillah. Can we? Oh, okay, so a bit about brother Fikri. I know only a little bit. Very little. So brother Fikri has been, maybe I leave it to him to say a little bit more about himself, inshallah. Yeah. How long have you been a murid? Yeah. 4 years, mashallah. So he has been a murid with Murshid for about 4 years already, mashallah. So, and he is quite learned as far as I'm concerned, because every time that I have a conversation with him, he's very, very knowledgeable. In terms of spirituality, in terms of knowledge, in terms of a lot of things. So there's a lot of things that all of us do pick up from him as well. And it's always, time well spent with him. And he's always upfront with sharing things. As far as I'm concerned, whenever I spend time with him, there's no waste of time. It's always some sort of knowledge that's being downloaded and gained as well. And, and this is the kind of people that we are striving to be with. Like what Murshid has said, it's, you have to be with people who are knowledgeable, who are also pious. And Brother Fikri ticks all the boxes as far as I'm concerned, and it's the same for all of us. So without further ado, we will pass on to Brother Fikri to say a few words about the spiritual message as well, inshallah.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم أعوذ بالله العظيم وبوجهه الكريم وسلطانه القديم من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Okay. Thank you for coming down just to listen to me. I don't know why. But it's for the book launch of the spiritual message of Islam. I've been tasked, I guess, to speak on it, and I will share what I think is like more of my interaction with the book. Yeah. So actually, the history of the book and all that. Yeah, I think Murshid would know better. But yeah. This story. Okay. So basically, a lot of things. Okay. How to say? The gist of it is that I came to the Khanka when at the Haji Lane around actually 3+ years ago, I think. Yeah. So I was looking to like improve myself and having things happen in my life that made me see that I'm lacking in a lot of things, and then it led to me seeking the bay'ah with Murshid, because that's the fullest way for the change to come to me. Yeah, I was in a previous Tariqah, and then in that Tariqah, with no fault upon the Tariqah, of course, but it's maybe I stagnated in that path. Yeah, so then I was moved to go through the bay'ah with Murshid, and evidently in this Tariqah, I saw that in these 3+ years, I think I've progressed a lot as compared to where I was. But again, it wasn't the fault of the path. It just wasn't for me, I guess. And then, yeah, going to that, touching on the bay'ah, and in connection to spiritual message of Islam, actually, I received the spiritual message of Islam, the book, later on. It's not, maybe some of you have had the book for longer, earlier. Because when, I think sometime the same week as the bay'ah, I was given a choice. Murshid gave me a choice when the Khankah was at Haji Lane, at that small counter at the foot of the staircase. He asked, do you want spiritual message of Islam or Faizul Habib? And then I asked, what's the difference? And then you said Faizul Habib is like more comprehensive and all that. So I took the more comprehensive one. Yeah. But subsequently, there were majalis of the, the reading of the spiritual message of Islam from cover to cover. Through that, so actually through the first few years, I think, the first year or so or second, I actually kept referring back to the videos themselves. So I didn't get the book. Yeah, but halfway through, I received the book. And so even that, maybe my time with the book was maybe shorter than the rest of you, but even that short time, I've gained a lot of benefits from the book. Going in, spiritual message of Islam is one of the resources, along with Murshid's sohbat and books, that I return to again and again throughout my wayfaring as a murid. It serves as a reference and backdrop to whatever Murshid has shared and is sharing. I feel that we need to understand the framework and worldview that Khwaja Habeebullah Shah brought. So like whatever Murshid has shared, of course, is from we would say like the treasure house of Khwaja Habeebullah. So this book would serve as like the framework, the worldview that we function through. Because different paths, different turuk would have different ways. Like one example would be, Murshid has been sharing about the Lataif, right? Then different paths would have like different numbers and all this. Right? So all are valid, all are true, but we need to know what is our path, our framework. So I feel like the broad, the guidelines or the broad principles are captured in the spiritual message of Islam. So it's like a good reference to go back with every, not new thing, but new to us maybe, Murshid shares along the way for us to progress. We can look back to this book. Then of course, if anything, we as murids, we turn back to Murshid to ask. So it's important to understand how to view the book itself. So before like touching on the contents of the book, not that I'm an expert that can touch on the content, but speaking about the book itself, the physical, the item itself, the object itself, it's important to understand how to view the book itself. Like Murshid once advised when once he saw the book Necklace of Love, it was placed on the floor. Once I remember, this is the book placed on the floor. He said that such books in general, and especially such books, should be shown honor. The very least in terms of reason is that the name of our murshids are written on and in it. So reverence is due to such books, because it's so as Murshid has emphasized many times, our attitude is key. Before anything, our attitude, how we view God, how we view the Prophet, how we view the awliya, how we view ourselves, the world. So what our thoughts are of the books by our murshids will determine what we gain from our murshids through these books. Then there's a saying, I think by the Habaib, from the from Tarim that I remember, because it's easy, like it rhymes. Okay, in a way that the madad is according to the mashhad. Mashhad meaning perception or view. Or, okay. So mashhad is perception, from the word like shuhud, to witness, to see, to view something. So the madad is according to the mashhad, means how you view something that will determine the capacity of madad, spiritual assistance and help that comes to you. So one example is how you view your teacher, how you view your sheikh, and even things that we overlook, like Murshid say, the sacredness of parents, how we view our parents. So all that, whatever spiritual assistance that comes, the amount of it, by Allah's permission, is according to how we view the thing, which is going back to attitude, attitude being important. So the physical things of our murshid are to be respected, and many of us know to seek blessings from them. And Murshid had said in a recent sohbah how shuyukh would pass down spiritual inheritance through their gifting of their personal items. The recipient will obtain an inheritance. If we understand that about the material objects, then we should understand that the books and recorded sohbah of the shuyukh are their, at least a portion, I don't know, but like their inner light, thoughts, guidance, and outpourings of their heart captured and preserved. So these kind of videos, these kind of books, they are something of their inner reality captured in physical objects or sounds, or yeah. So we should see it as that, not just, oh, it's just a book. Yeah. So in a way, on one level, having the book of a sheikh means that we have, in a way, a piece of his heart or a reflection of it. So there's this Imam Ibn al-Jawzi has a book that is called Sayyidul Khatir, Captured Thoughts. I happen to have the book. So it's a book that is like, so-called to us, it's like random thoughts, like we would write a journal. But the random, so-called random, thoughts of a scholar would have so much benefit. So, so like Imam Ibn al-Jawzi, he would write things that he would be walking in the market and he writes something about transaction in Islam. Or something happened in his family and then he writes something. Those so-called random thoughts, we can learn fiqh, we can learn tafsir, we can learn so much. So if that, where is it? Sorry. So a book captures and holds within its ink and paper the wisdom, secrets, and outpourings of the heart of the writer. So if that is for an outward scholar, then imagine. So imagine what is captured. So if that is for what do you call it, an outward scholar, you can learn so many outward sciences from. Imagine what is captured in the book from the heart of our great grand murshid, Khwaja Habeebullah Shah. So that's how we should look at spiritual message of Islam, and of course also the books by our murshid, Shah. So spiritual message of Islam was written by Khwaja Habeebullah Shah himself, the kutub and the fountainhead of the Habibiyah lineage. That should mean something immense to us as murids. For non-murids, it could be seen as an opportunity to peek into the wisdom, knowledge, and spirituality of a great wali. So I refer to the author's note in the spiritual message of Islam. I read, there's one paragraph where I think Khwaja Habeebullah himself wrote that while issuing this small treatise, I bring to the kind information of the readers that I have written booklets in Urdu entitled Faizul Habib, Irshadat Habib, and Suluki Awradi Habib. These were later translated into Tamil and have come out as booklets for the benefit of my Tamil-knowing disciples and others interested in Ma'rifah. When I went abroad to Malaysia and other places and met several of my disciples who knew neither Urdu nor Tamil but knew English, they expressed a desire that I should bring out the contents of the above works in English, so that they may also be benefited. This work, though not a true translation in English of my Urdu works, I have gathered the matters contained therein and arranged them, theme by theme. So I'll stop there. It shows that, So it shows the mercy and the generosity of our great Grand Murshid towards us all. He opened doors and made things accessible. And our Murshid has mentioned that he has that foresight. Because I think recently Murshid mentioned that it would be unfathomable, and it wasn't in the minds of people even 30 years ago that we would be studying tasawwuf in English. Yeah. So Khwaja Habeebullah is one of the pioneers also of that, because he knew that people would be like now we're speaking in English right now, learning about Tariqah and all that. So it's from his mercy, his generosity, and which I believe is something our Murshid has mirrored as well. He's opened doors and made things accessible. So spiritual message of Islam itself is quite actually concise and succinct, and it condenses huge broad topics into digestible like bits. Actually, if you do know what each topic, how it has been discussed by scholars and how it's been discussed by awliya in our illustrious history as a ummah, you would know that actually the topics are very, very huge. Yeah, it's quite, it takes skill to condense it into a short treatise like this. There is enough to guide, but then it doesn't like make people lost in the topics. There is a short intro to the origin of the turuq and the science of ma'rifah from Sayyidina Ali, karamallahu ta'ala wajhah, to the four, Sayyidina Hassan, Sayyidina Hussein, Sayyidina Hassan al-Basri, and Sayyidina Kumail ibn Ziyad. The 14 main turuq were mentioned briefly, as had been explained at more length in Miratul Asrar. So it's like a short explanation of where turuq comes from, the science of ma'rifah. Then it goes to the next chapter on the relationship between a pir, a sheikh, and a murid. Something crucial that we constantly need as murids. We need to understand what is our relationship with our sheikh. It's an ongoing process. We need to sharpen it and smoothen the rough edges and all that along the way. And then, so it's good to keep going back to spiritual message of Islam, because that's our great grand sheikh, teaching us how to be with our sheikh. So something crucial that we constantly need. We fall short at times because we sometimes lose sight of how our relationship should be with our murshid. So going back to this would be of extreme benefit. For non-murids, the chapter's explanation of what a sheikh should have and how to recognize one would be helpful in their search for a sheikh. For us murids, it would be a reminder of what our murshid possesses. Of course, these kind of things, murshid won't say about himself. Right. So here we have our great grand sheikh telling us what a sheikh should be, like the prerequisites of being a sheikh. So since our murshid is our sheikh, so that's what he possesses. Right. So we know. So I would refer to page 12 of Spiritual Message of Islam. Page 12.
The book is available at the back.
Page 12. Sorry. Okay. So that I think we know this passage. So it's page 12 of Spiritual Message of Islam. The disciple should always keep company with the guide. By close communion between the two souls, the refined and purified soul of the guide, fortified with his good character, overpowers and rectifies the evil nature of the disciple, and his evil thoughts vanish. The love and respect shown to the guide will be reflected upon the disciple in the form of his blessings, which in due course will accelerate the disciple's progress in his realization of the truth. Those who do not esteem the value of the guides and do not seek the aid of their powerful achievements will be deprived of the knowledge of reality. So such a reminder from Khwaja Habeebullah Shah is first how we should regard and remember what our murshid is in our lives. And then of course it also magnifies our perception of Khwaja Habeebullah himself, because he was his Shaykhul Mashayikh, he's the Sheikh of the Sheikhs. So if the sheikhs have that, then what more the kutub of this lineage? Sorry. Okay, so that would be an example of something we can go back to and keep in mind and heart as we interact with Murshid or sit in his presence. As you can see, spiritual message of Islam is like an ongoing reminder from Khwaja Habeebullah Shah on how we should be in our time with our own Murshid. So I'm going to refer to page 14 of Spiritual Message of Islam. Okay, page 14, that middle paragraph. Khwaja Habeebullah Shah, Qaddasallahu sirrul aziz, is telling us, let not the ma'rifah of God be revealed to those murids whose faculty of understanding is poor. It has to be revealed to murids who distinguish wahdat, oneness, from kasrat, multiplicity, and that too through the guidance of a piri kamil, a perfect sheikh. The guide will explain to the murids wahdat and kasrat. Then the mystery will be solved. It is the greater task of the spiritual guide to enlighten the disciple with wahdat and kasrat. If the language of the arifin, the Gnostics, is not clear, let the salik, the traveler in the path of God, who is not able to reach the heights of tasawwuf or gnosis, shed his superiority complex and approach a guide who is proficient to teach him in this line of knowledge. Let him not, with his lack of understanding and shallowness, find fault with people of great eminence who have attained God. So that is like a very, it looks simple, but it's like a very important reminder for us as murids, and then for the general, I would say the ummah. But now we know, some of us might know that there's controversies on social media and all this, talking about people who think they understand what the Arifin Billah are speaking about. And then they attack, and then they even do takfir, say it's shirk and all this. So like Khwaja Habeebullah said, let him not, with his lack of understanding and shallowness, find fault with people of great eminence who have attained God himself. So, sorry. So Khwaja Habeebullah Shah, Qaddasallahu sirrul aziz, wrote about stuff like that, what I just read, openly and unabashedly, like without worry. He doesn't hide. He doesn't hide the things that are spoken of in here. It would be, how to say, it would be so rare to hear in circles about such things. Tasawwuf, yes, like people would term outer tasawwuf, like akhlaq and all this. That one we've heard a lot. But the things that he talked about inside here, he unabashedly just share. Okay, he doesn't hide from such stuff. So the passage that I just read about basically having adab with the people of Allah, especially your murshid, it is a humbling stick that I would say, that kind of whacks the ego. Like, so it's like basically know your place, O murid. Know who you are. So for non-murids, it is like a teaser to what awaits them, all these topics, if they embark on the path. It also warns to not jump to conclusions when reading the statements of the Arifin Billah, as have been done by foolish ones with regards to the sayings of the awliya. So the other topics touched upon by Khwaja Habeebullah Shah are the 7 levels of the nafs, as Murshid had mentioned many times, including last night. So nafsu amara bisu, nafsu lawama, nafsu mulhima, nafsu mutmainna, nafsu radiyah, maradiyah, and kamila. So then Khwaja Habeebullah Shah, Qaddasallahu sirrul aziz, touched upon the kalima tayyibah and their stations. La ilaha illa Allah and who. This is something the Chishti Tariqah orbits around, as Murshid had mentioned. The Qaderis might have salawat and asma, and other turuk have their own particular focus, but the Chishtis focus heavily on the kalima. So Tanazulat, which Murshid had explained in detail, if you were in the Friday classes at Haji Lane, those are also talked about in the book. It is in the book, and it is important for us to know what the cosmology of the Sufis are. So it is our worldview. So when we understand tanazulat, actually many things, I would say world events and things in your life, of course with the explanation and guidance from Murshid, we would understand things that are happening, and then we wouldn't lose faith, we wouldn't give up because of that. So the big, and then coming to the, I think it's was the final chapter, the big topic of Wahdatul Wujud and Wahdatul Shuhud is addressed in the last chapter. It is given a brief introduction and conclusion. That of them, the two notions, essentially being the same conception, being experienced from awliyaullah who were in different stations. So that I believe Khwaja Habeebullah 𝘚𝘱𝘪𝘵𝘶𝘢𝘭 wrote that to clear the fog in a sense, but also to tell us as murids, at least for me, to not delve in, not to fault others who have that different. So this teacher might be teaching Wahdatul Wujud and the Wahdatul Shuhud. Because like if you all know, so you all know like there's a Hassan Spiker, I think his name. He's an expert on Akbarian doctrine, so on Sheikhul Akbar. So he gave there's a whole video about, I think, difference Wahdatul Shuhud and Wahdatul Wujud. It's like 2 hours plus, 2 hours plus, and they're talking about the first ta'ayun, the second ta'ayun thabita and all this. So it goes into philosophy and all that. So I don't think Khwaja Habeebullah Shah is trying to like explain it and then explain the whole history of it. Yeah. But it's just telling us what is the most important above even knowledge is adab. How our adab is towards our murshid and towards the arifin billah. So like so let's say famously Sheikhul Akbar Ibn Arabi, he's the one who taught most famously about Wahdatul Wujud. And then Imam Ahmad Sirhindi later on talked about Wahdatul Shuhud, and he like kind of disagreed and all that. But like Shah Waliullah, I think he says that it's just statements of the same reality from different stations and all this. So that is addressed briefly in Spiritual Message of Islam. So it's more of like how our attitude, again about attitude, how we should view if we read some books, or we cannot say, oh, this is right, this is wrong, this is right. So of course we refer back to our murshid. So so Spiritual Message of Islam is not meant to be like an in-depth book of Sufi philosophy. It's not it provides guidance and where to step and where not to step. It's meant to be a treatise, easy to read and be used. So for us, it is something we refer back to reaffirm and recheck our understanding of our worldview, since many people are selling their worldviews and their philosophy of how to view the world, social media around us and all this. So this is where we go back to, and of course to our Sheikh. And we of course should turn to our Sheikh for deeper explanations. For the non-murids, it can pique their interest into a world of tasawwuf and tariqah that many have shied away from speaking about. If we keep too silent about many things of tariqah, we might be depriving sincere seekers of such treasures. So like Murshid said about Sheikh Hisham Kabbani, he revived that, in his time, he revived that tariqah identity, so that people don't shrink away from the reality of them being in the tariqah and representing it. Yeah. So that is something Khwaja Habeebullah Shah is also openly talking about, and he's not shy about him being in a tariqah. In such a crazy world as ours today, we should be proud in a healthy way of our tariqah and its history, accomplishments, legacy, and potency, its ability to turn the worst of sinners to the loftiest of sins. Can I have permission to read from the newsletter? Of course. Yeah. So yeah, okay. Okay. So I'll be reading from just to give a context of the legacy which this is part of. I will be reading from the latest newsletter that is available on ihsania.com and we can purchase it, right? Yes. Yeah, purchase. Yeah. Yeah, commercial break. Yes. So we're reading. Sorry. Yeah, it's from the article that's called Ever-Flowing Legacy. So, Bismillah. So from the boundless treasures of the munificent Khwaja Habeebullah Shah, Qaddasallahu Sirul Aziz, come the numerous adhkar and awrad benefiting the people of the Khanqa, such as the Musabatul Ashra. His and his successors' emphasis on Salawatun Nariyah has inspired gatherings that continue to soothe hearts and birthed awrad like Ratib Kamaliyah. His blessings and supplications for his spiritual progeny have also led to awrad like Wirdus Salam, prayers for the anxious heart. All these awrad are available, for if you download on isania.com. And I would include, in addition to the awrad, his dedication to this spiritual path has inspired books that illuminate the journey, such as The Way of Ihsaniyah, and books that celebrate the silsila, like Necklace of Love, all of which are available at the Khanqa. And I would include now the Spiritual Message of Islam, which is his book, primarily from Khwaja Habeebullah himself. Yet without, now I'm getting into like the whole legacy, which this is part of, yet without negating the crucial role of such resources, what has really impacted the lives of the people of the Khanqa, Murids and Muhibbin alike, is the transformation, healing, and growth they experience and are still experiencing. Some enter the doors of the Khanqa with wounds and problems, and they found healing. Others enter seeking strength and growth, and they found that. And yet others strive for spiritual excellence and divine witnessing, and they are shown the doors to that goal. All of that springs from the fountainhead of the inner secret of Khwaja Habeebullah Shah, Qaddasallahu Sirul Aziz. In terms of suluk, spiritual wayfaring, the master of masters, Khwaja Habeebullah Shah, Qaddasallahu Sirul Aziz, has shortened it for whomever wishes to witness the beatific vision and embody that reality. What was the domain of the elite? He has opened the broad gates thereof. If I were to speak personally, this, what I just mentioned, is the pearl of the highest value amidst the bountiful storehouses of Khwaja Habeebullah, Qaddasallahu Sirul Aziz. Those who have spent their time seeking the gnosis, the ma'rifah of such a reality, or even the loftier goal of seeing that reality, would realize what a treasure this is. All of these stupendous bounties ready for us to use them. All of this available to our hearts at any moment through our murshid. How did one man in one inspiring lifetime spent on this earth occasioned such a vast and deep deluge of spiritual favors? Surely an inspiring, ongoing, and unfolding narrative that we are a part of. May we procure the sanctifying gaze of Khwaja Habeebullah Shah, Qaddasallahu Sirul Aziz, always. May the banner of this silsila fly high in the celestial worlds and in this world, and the flag of this Khanqa be planted securely in our hearts, and others see it when they see our faces and our deeds. Amen. Thank you for listening to me about this, but it's all from Murshid. So Alhamdulillah, may there be benefits, and inshallah.
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. Thank you so much, Brother Fikri, for giving us a deep insight into the spiritual message and our master, Habibullah Shah, what he has written as well. Now, the interaction that I've always had with spiritual message has always been in the form of digital, which is not the same as having the book itself. Again, you have to wonder, as education specialist, you know that you have to have the textbook, which you can refer to. I can deliver the lectures, I can give you the reminders, but you have to do the work, you have to refer to the textbook, and you have to do your revisions as well. What more better way than having the actual book itself? MashaAllah. And our Murshid is the one who has also explained deeper so that you don't get the wrong understanding of the message that our master has already given. So it has also reminded us for how we should act with our Murshid as well. The adab with which we have to interact with the book, the adab with which we have to interact with our Murshid as well, is something that we have to always consciously think about, consciously. Okay, if we are in this path, and there are a lot of things that we have to be conscious about. That is something that has been highlighted by Murshid for us to be conscious about what we are doing, what we are saying, and the zikr that we have to be consciously doing as well. And I also believe that you have to be consciously making sure of your adab towards your Murshid as well. And what better way than to learn it from the book itself. So it's very important as far as I'm concerned. Thank you so much, Fikri and Murshid, for coming up with the book. This is a manual that every murid should have with them. And this is something like what Brother Fikri has said, is something for us to refer to, something for us to go back to when we falter and when we forget. This is something that we have to. Digital will not do much help. If this is there physically in front of our eyes as well, it's something that will draw you again and again. And I'm very, very thankful that it has been published as well. Thank you, Murshid. Thank you for, and thank you so much. May Allah bless all of us and their work, and all those who has put in all their efforts to come up with the book as well. Thank you so much, Murshid.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين أفضل الصلاة وأتم التسليم على سيدنا ومولانا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. Beloved Muriddins, Muhibbin, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Jazakumullah jaza to our brother Khina Aziz Fikri, and also to our brother Ali for the very generous sharing, to brother Fikri as well. It's always nice to hear, listen, to hear from a different voice of some things that we take for granted like the spiritual message of Islam. So my interaction with this book was quite, how do I say this? It's basically I've known this book for about 30, 40 years. So ever since I'm able to read in my early, read better when I go into secondary school, I went to my grandfather's library and took a photocopied version of this book. And that too, it was photocopied in this way, like, open book and photocopy. So the book became very long. I always found the book to be cloaked with a sense of mystery. Because as I was growing up, my grandfather, Khwaja Habeebullah Shah, being a Khalifa of Khwaja Habeebullah Shah, and giving bay'ah, that was supposed to be a secret. Like, not many people are supposed to know that he's a Khalifa of a Tariqah. So I so thought, because of that, so I thought this book is a mysterious book. I always have it at my cupboard where I keep my clothes. Then, the topmost part of my cupboard. I will take it out once in a while, and the pages that would really intrigue me are the beginning page, which is actually how the silsila starts. And I will always go back to these 14 silsilas, like, who are these Zaydis? Because I don't know anything. I was in secondary school, so I was in Sec 3 or something like that. And who are these Zaydis? Who are these Iyazis, Aldamis, Hubairis? And I only know the Chishtis, because we hear it, Chishti Qadri, Chishti Qadri. Oh, then I say, okay, they pass on things. What are the things? So I had very little knowledge, so I took it out, and I had a friend who was Shia. So then I told him, we two share something common. What's that? I said, we two inherit things from Sayyidina Ali. And then he was like, what do you mean? Then I told him about this. Then he said, oh, you're talking about irfan. I said, what do you mean by irfan? It's tasawwuf and all that kind of, it's tariqah. So that's my early interaction with this. And I always thought the book has to be, I never went past through many chapters in my early days. Because I keep going back to that chapter. The origin of ma'rifah. Only that. Peer, disciple, all that I learned through being with my murshid. Sufi suluk with my murshid. None of it was what I have learned through the books. But what I always was intrigued by from this book is this. And when we were growing up, my grandfather had a very big picture of murshid. Big picture. You can see it in the Connected Hearts, the book. I was sitting with my grandfather. So there's a picture of murshid, very big. So if you enter his house, if you see the living room, there's like a huge picture of murshid. And we grew up with that picture, always. And mashallah, that picture always has this thing that wherever I walk, the eyes will be looking at me. It's for me, at least. So one might say it's the mind or whatever it is. So each time my grandfather gives bay'ah, etc. So that was when there was bay'ah, we would have all the children would be in the room. We were not allowed to be part of the majlis. We were only allowed to come out. So there was once when bay'ah was going on, I peeped, I looked through, but then the door was quickly shut. That's how it was for me when I was growing up. So now that I'm making it more open, right? So it's become, I hope it becomes better in that sense. But also need to protect it from fitnah. So what is needed now, when we look at it, is we need to know who is Khwaja Habeebullah Shah. So every week, when we were living in Teban Gardens, this is back in the 80s, my grandfather was living right in front of the market, and he had classes at Masjid Hasanah. So every week, every Sunday morning, we would take the taxi from Teban Garden. Taxi, mind you, back then was not cheap. Right? We would take the taxi from Teban Gardens to Kubur Qasim. And we'll go there for majlis, and then we'll come back. And on the way back, we'll go to Geylang. That's a treat for us. We eat and all that kind of thing, So for many years, that was our routine for Sunday mornings. My mom, my grandmother, all the ladies would be sitting outside where the maqam is, the rawdah is, and then where the windows are. So the windows will be left open for them to kind of join the majlis. So they were not allowed to be close to the majlis. So the only part of the majlis that I look forward to is when everybody keeps silent and we make dua. So this is when I was in kindergarten. It was really long ago. It was kindergarten. So when they were making dua, silence, they would say, okay, make your hajat. So then I look at my grandfather, because before that, he said, I wish there were people who helped me to do the work. And this was in Teban Garden. So I was like, oh, Ya Allah, allow me to help my grandfather to do the work. I remember it vividly, because it's like, I remember the people, and I was in K2 or even lesser than that, I don't know. So I remember it. Then after that, so in my youth, my childhood, what I remember most is the maqam. Because that's the only thing, the rest all I don't remember. The only, here and there. So my mom would say, well, when you were young like this, I said, I don't remember. I only remember that. It's as though murshid has the power to, take hold of your attention, if you are willing to give your attention and your heart to the spiritual message of Islam. But if not, then you will only be looking at the ego. You see, there's a difference, right? So Khwaja Habeebullah Shah has succinctly made this message, timeless. These are not small concepts. It's a big concept for awliya, right? And this, what you see, is the pedagogy for you to be a wali. But it's not limited by a 4-year outline degree. It's not in 4 years I get the BA, I'm a wali. It's something that happens if you are willing to let go of the nafsu and the ego. So Khwaja Habeebullah Shah has that power that we see. If you make dua, etc., etc. And how does this power, in a sense, being bestowed upon Khwaja Habeebullah Shah is through the knowledge. So one must, in Tariqah, educate oneself in this. Doesn't matter what's your background. You can be a doctor, an engineer, a teacher, anything. You can be also no job, doesn't matter. But this is the main pedagogy for one to understand. Why? Because it discusses the major questions in life. Why are we here? What are we doing here? And where are we going? And here has been lined out by Murshid clearly, very clearly. He lined it out, like the origins of Ma'rifah, the 14 Khandawans. Why are these important? Because this is where, like, the fountainhead of Ma'rifah flows through, from heart to heart. Sina bi Sina. That's what Murshid always says, from heart to heart. So when you look at your Murshid in that sense, he doesn't need to teach you actually as much, but he needs to educate you. That's the difference. That's why there's a difference between a teacher and a guide. The teacher teaches, but the guide guides. And guidance doesn't have to come in a form of book, right? Because it's very subtle. Guidance is something very subtle. It has to do with the way you think, the way you behave, etc. If you put it on pen and paper, then it becomes a list of instructions, which is what the people of this world are used to. Tell me what to do, tell me what to do. No, it's not telling you what to do. You got to think what you need to do. The initiative, the character, right? What we call just now the word, not character, even before that, attitude, right? Really important. These are things that are missing. And as this miss, we're losing this in our community. And what is also happening, we're losing people who are seeking Allah in this community. So what I have witnessed are that in this tariqah, in this day, what I've witnessed is that the parents are in the tariqah, but the children are all not in the tariqah. Their grandchildren are all not in the tariqah. Why? Because they don't see the need for this knowledge. So it is very important for us, as people who have inherited this, that we have a duty. We need to relay this to the next many generations, not just the next generation. Well, it doesn't matter who you are, right? Of course, relay what you know. So if you know the Sheikh, then that is where your point of reference to relay is. I know the Sheikh. I know Khwaja Habeebullah Shah. I know his teachings. I know the miracles that revolve around his maqam, even if you don't meet him physically. I know people who have met him, that kind of thing. So the legacy continues. Because if not, then it'll be like me. I only see the book Cloak in Mystery. Because I lived through the time where people give precedence to dunya more than this, especially here in Singapore. So Tariqah took a hit. It went into hiding for a while. And then there's a group of people that were determined to bring it out. My grandfather was one of them. He did it in a way that was very progressive, bit by bit, right? But now as there is a lot of more, like he says, worldviews that sells you or that grooms you to be a consumer, why would you need this book? Right? Again, then this book will be shelved and it becomes a mystery. Right? Tariqah becomes a mystery. When actually it doesn't need to. What was once something that is done behind closed doors, right? People's sexual preference, that is now no longer a mystery. Now all the ma'siyah is done what? Openly. And then this is now supposed to be done closed door. Even religious teachers are doing this. Oh, Tariqah only. This, some sectors of the community. No, everybody needs to do dhikr. A few murids came up to me and said, oh, I cannot connect myself with the wirid of the zikr, of the tariqah. I said, why? What did I ask you to do? I asked. Oh, la ilaha illallah. You have problem connecting with la ilaha illallah? It's not you having a problem with the tariqah. It's you having a problem with La ilaha illallah. That's what our Murshid brought. It's very clear, no? The wirid and the tariqah is La ilaha, nothing else. How come you have problem with La ilaha illallah? What kind of heart are you having? That's why it's very important to not make this a mystery. The more we're making this a mystery, the more we hide it in our shelves and just keep passing around photocopied copies of this, then the more La ilaha illallah becomes a mystery for us. Many lessons, classes, workshops, seminars, symposiums, books have been bought and sold. But the essence of this book is La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. Why is this a mystery? Why is the teaching of our Murshid Khwaja Habeebullah Shah only for a certain elite? Right? Sometimes I feel some of the seniors are so afraid of and they cannot explain themselves. The tariqah has been taken aback and then it's only for people who understand. Khwaja Habeebullah Shah did not come with that. Khwaja Habeebullah Shah wants everybody to understand. It's not meant to be what's so exclusive about La ilaha illallah? Can La ilaha illallah be exclusive? No. What's your daily zikir? That La ilaha illallah. Most I ask you to do salawat. But how you receive the La ilaha illallah. How I receive this La ilaha illallah. This is where the spiritual message of Islam is. This is where Khwaja Habeebullah Shah then explains to us, when you take the hand of the Sheikh, what happens. Khwaja Habeebullah Shah, why is this relevant? Why do you need a Sheikh in this day and age? Why? Because everybody, like he says, can talk about the tanazzulat, but how many can bring you there? And the beautiful part is about this book and what my grandfather said, Khwaja Kalimullah Shah said. Khwaja Kalimullah Shah told me, one day you will have to prove to people that God exists. Not in a scientific way, but you have to kind of like show them God exists. This is said about 20 years ago. Last time we were watching TV, right? And if you come too close to the TV, what would your parents say? Huh? It will spoil your eyes, move back. Now, where do you put your VR screens? Huh? Where do you put your VR screens? That's how much precedence we give dunya. What was once spoiling the eyes is now spoiling the soul. This should be in front of our eyes. So Khwaja Habeebullah Shah, right? Qaddasallahu sirrahu, what he did was, he knew this was going to be a problem. What did he do? He says, let me book it, make it into a book that is succinct enough that people can go through this as a reader before they go into bigger books, if they need to, or at least this will be a reader for them when they are with their murshid, because they would be bombarded with dunya right in front of their eyes. So this is not just a book. What we've inherited in spiritual message of Islam is Khwaja Habeebullah Shah still guiding. Because of his clairvoyance or his foresight or his kashaf, he knew that there is a need for people to have this in this simple manner. Look, I have dealt with books for more than 20, 30 years. I grew up with books. Religious books, non-religious books, because my grandfather is a great person in books. Every year as I was growing up, he'll bring me to the book fair. Now there's no more book fair, right? So he'll bring us to the book fair and I would be with him with his books. I'll take out his books, etc., etc., etc. I know his references. That's how I learn, right? I have not seen a book. I'm not saying this because our murshid is our murshid. I'm saying this because I have not seen a book that is this concise, preserving these teachings in this concise manner. Never have I seen it. I've not seen it. A book on adab, awarif ma'arif, they stick. Right? A book to talk about tanazulat. Then you will go into example, Sheikh Akbar, this thing, just tanazulat. A book to talk about wahdatul wujud, wahdatul shuhud, because the both camps are arguing, etc. A book to talk about adab between murid and murshid. Minimum this thing. Minimum. Khwaja Habeebullah Shah put everything in this book. If that does not, display his rank and the swiftness of him being able to go in and out of the suluk and to preserve it for the modern day seeker, I don't know what is. But it is our fault that for the past 50 years, I had to give out the books to many people, including Sheikh Hisham. I gave out a spiritual message to Sheikh Hisham when I met him in one of the conferences. It was the first printed by Khwaja Habeebullah Shah. Right? So there wasn't people who actually took effort to make this in print. But that also goes to show the barakah in his work, that for multiple generations, for the past 50 years, this book was circulated as it has been printed the first time in 1961. 61, right? 66. You see? For that many years, I had to give out the books that were first printed, and their hardcover, the pages are falling off. I still have my own. Murshid gave me a whole stack. I've been giving it out for our visitors. And I told myself, I'm giving out treasures, but I don't know if people understand them. Why? Because today, tasawwuf and tariqah, or tariqah has become only about amal, and karamat, and social gatherings. Right? Tariqah is only about that. No one is interested to study tariqah. Oh, boring. To study tariqah is boring. I only want the effects. Simple. Go and stand at the PUB power plant, you get the effect, inshallah. Go and put your hand, you get the current, the effects. Right? What effects do we want? You want to have the mushahadah, the witnessing that Murshid say here. You want to have the cogitation, the ability to think. Tariqah teaches us this. Tariqah does not just, bring us to kramat. No. Of course, it can do that, but there's something more than that. I would like to share with you. Why does it? It goes into this mode with song, I'd like to share with you this one thing that I've read before I left. It's from Mevlana Jalaluddin Rumi, and it's quoted by some of the murids of Sheikh Shahidullah Faridi in his biography that was presented to me by one of the students of Sheikh Captain Wahid Baksh. So it's not bought off the shelf, it's given by the murid. So he says here, the man of God has ridden out of non-being. R-I-D-D-E-N. The man of God has ridden out of non-being. The man of God is served with dignity. The man of God is hidden. O Shamsuddin, friend, go look for the man of God and go find him. You understand what he's trying to say? The man of God has ridden out of non-being. That means he became, from human being, he became Adam. He realized why and how he was created. And if he continued that journey, from Adam, he'll become Muhammad. The man of God has ridden of non-being. Out of non-being. So he came out. And he came into being. The man of God is served with dignity. Not any man, but the Rijal of Allah, the Awliya Allah, the people who know Allah, those who have gnosis, ma'rifatullah, those who detach themselves from dunya, from the ego, from the four enemies, then they are served with dignity. By whom? Not by the people of dunya, because they won't know the value of these people. It's by Allah and His Rasul. They are the ones that will serve them with dignity. The malaikah are the ones that will serve them with dignity. The jinns will be the one that is serving them with dignity. Why? Because they know the value of such a person. But for the people of dunya, the men of God are like ghuraba. They are strangers. Why must I be having a sheikh? What you mean by being close to the sheikh, I get better. They are strangers. Right? The man of God is hidden. Yani, the true man of God, right? No matter how he is known, people still don't know the reality of those who know Allah. It is a secret. Allah says, Anna sirri insan wa insan sirri. I am the secret of insan, and insan is my secret. I am the secret of man, man is my secret. Or Shamsuddin. Shamsuddin is Shamsuddin at Tabriz, you know. Hazrat Mawlana is saying, friend, go look for the man of God and find him. So if for us, in this day of age that we are bankrupt because of our own deeds and the way we think and the way we act, then we're fortunate because the friends of, or the men of God have left us with this. Khwaja Habeebullah Shah. For us to overcome the hurdles and the obstacles of our dunya mind. And for that you must know the root of all of this, which is the silsila. That's why Murshid starts with that. So Murshid says, first you want to know the men of God, you need to know where they come from. Where did they come from? They come from the asrar of Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the secret of Sayyidina Muhammad. So the man of God is the man of God for what they have inherited, not for what they can purchase. Not what the world adorns them. The fakhr of dunya. Like they say, fakir fakhri. Fakir fakhri. Being in a state of fakir, a pauper, right? For me is an adornment. Why? Because he knows Allah. After you know the origin of this, the origin of the man, the rijal of Allah, then you need to find one, and that's where Murshid says, locate it in your peer. That's chapter 2. He gives you the whole journey here. Chapter 2. After you have your peer, your murid, you become a murid, you've taken your bay'ah, right? What is the obligation of the murid and the obligation of the murshid towards the murid? Is the suluk, the travel towards Allah, siyar ilallah. And that Murshid explains that in this book. And the essence of the travel, what did Murshid say? Murshid said the essence of the travel for our Rijal Allah is La ilaha illallah. Then Murshid said you need to know, where do you place this La ilaha illallah? Number one, where did Murshid say? Open it up, have a look. Chapter 4. The content page, I'm not even going to go into the contents. Qalb, the heart. So when you understand first, you know the man of God, and you know that you are with your sheikh, that is connected with the man of God, and then he starts you in wayfaring after you've done your bay'ah. The first thing you need to be acquainted with is what? La ilaha If that is not acquainted yet, it is not the fault of the Shaykh. It is our sectarian, secular minds that does not see this, the need for this La ilaha illallah. And because our heart and our nafs are all dirty. Then Murshid said, now you know this kalima, I'm going to tell you the divisions, the maratib of it. What is that? The kalima and its the stations. Where do you start? Where are you? Where are you going next with this kalima? With your sheikh? Where are you going after that? Going after that? Going after that? Going after that? My friend, this is more interesting than you watching your Star Wars. 2 hours, 3 hours of don't know how many episodes of things that we're watching on TV, yet when we read about our sheikhs, we become bored. Truly, we have become castles of shaitan. Then how are you going to achieve the maqams of fana? That's what Murshid is saying. And then, Murshid says, once you have achieved fana, then can we talk to you about the cosmology. Fana here doesn't mean you go and annihilate in things you don't understand. Fana here, what does it mean? It means to annihilate the ego. That's it. When you understand this, that the ego it will become more subtle. It's very coarse, then it becomes subtle, more subtle, more subtle, more subtle, until you're not able to identify the ego, right? And then we're no different than the animal. After that, you know the tanazzulat from Allah. And this does not disturb Allah's zat at all. Allah is Allah. It's not going to change. Until how Allah is close to you. Right? Not just in a theological discussion. Belajar akidah, Allah wujud, kidam baqa. Yes, true, important. You know, you need that. After that is, how close is Allah to you? You're not able to say. Because this is something that only those who are close to Allah knows. This is where tasawwuf and tariqah becomes the knowledge of tasting. But if you don't study, then even if shaitan throws najis at us, we say, oh, this is good, this is nice. Because we cannot tell the difference between the taste of what? Of hakikah of Allah, the realities of Allah, and the realities of dunya. May Allah protect us. You can't differentiate because our palates are spoiled. And then after that, the Shaykh talks about the sifat, the attributes, and the awliya Allah, salihin, and the stages of ecstasy. Did anywhere here he said you need to go to anywhere to get a certain cert and then go to next cert and then next cert? No. And then after that, he comes to the most important part. After you've reached all of this ecstasy, do not make shirk unto Allah. Because this is where people can mix up about Tawheed. And then he comes back to you in the most basic of most basic. What is that? Salat. How you must experience this dhawq in your prayer. And then he tells you, I give you some advice. This advices is him talking to us about our khalwa and uzla. How do you go for seclusion? What must you do inside, etc. Because now you're able to differentiate that you're on the path of La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, and you're not here to make shirk. You're not here to do anything. You're here to be focusing on the hakikat of Allah, the light of Allah, and how you're going to go into seclusion to truly transform yourself and to bring yourselves out from dhulum, from darkness to light. Anywhere he asks you to go and run, become Iron Man or anything like that, no. You're doing this with what? La ilaha Muhammad Rasulullah. Akhir, then he gives you with the biggest discussion, the most deepest discussion, wahdatul wujud wa wahdatul shuhud. And this, of course, is for those who are ready, those who can understand this. And the conclusion, he says, this journey, Murshid is saying, is about us getting rid of our ego. Nowhere have I seen that people talk about your whole journey from before Bay'ah, from Sayyidina Muhammad SAW, until it reaches to Fana, until you go through seclusion, etc., in 80 pages. How many Tom Clancy books have you read? How many books have we read for dunya? Manuals of accounting, of finance and tax, and manuals of driving, etc. Even the driving book is thicker than this. Yet Murshid Khwaja Habeebullah Shah made it in 80 pages. If we were to teach this book, it will take years. So it's better to practice it. My grandfather, Khwaja Kalimullah Shah, started to give a sharah on this book in the last few years of his life. He started to type an explanation of this book, but I didn't see its fruition. You get what I'm trying to say? So that's why I think this is an important book. Of course, at least we start with all of us in-house first. We in-house need to know this book. We in-house need to believe in this book. Then the people outside would understand the immense importance of this book. Khwaja Habeebullah Shah wrote many other books, yes. Fayzul Habib, Irshadul Habib, Sulukul Habib, Awradul Habib, etc. But this, I believe, in his kashaf, he put the essence of everything into this. Out of his humility, he said this is not a proper translation. But until today, no one has done a better edition than what came out in 1966. What we did today, we just took the same thing and we reprinted. It's as though Allah Himself has mahfuz this kitab, has preserved this book. You want to do an editing also cannot. We've tried. I have a soft copy of this book. I typed almost 10 years ago. I got some volunteers to type it out. Until today, we did not print the book. Someone else did a print of the book. Still, the layout, etc., is not as beautiful as this book. Only one reprint was done. After that, even that is no longer in circulation. That's it. So if you want to know one of the karama of your great-grand sheikh, not even your grand sheikh, your great-grand sheikh, is especially for us in this region. Because he wrote it for us in the Malaysian Peninsula. How fortunate are we? And when awliya do work, it is meant to cut across time and space. Who would have thought in 2024 you're reading the same book? Unedited. As it is, as how Murshid has compiled it. So inshallah, I hope that this book would motivate you to seek the knowledge of ma'rifatullah, which is none other than the knowledge of knowing yourself and knowing Allah, right? And we seek protection from the people who bring bad name upon this knowledge, and that we seek Murshid's blessings for us to be reaping the treasures from this book, and that we are able to dwell deeper and deeper into the kalima of La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu. And that through this book we are connected to the awliya Allah salihin, we are connected to Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu. We too will be brought closeness to Allah, to overcome our ego, to overcome our nafsu, to overcome all of the different levels of the nafs, until we reach nafs kamil, until we reach the proximity to be looking and to be having mushahada with Nur Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wa alihi wa sahbihi wa baraka wa sallam, and to be placed among the awliya Allah salihin, if not in our states, at least in our actions, inshallah. And that this continues to be preserved until the very end of times. and that it will be a manual, a guiding light, a lamp of light in the darkness of Akhir Zaman, that will continue to bring back light into the hearts of all of those who are sincerely seeking for haqq Allah, la ilaha illallah. Allahumma Rabbana atmim lana nurana wa jamalana, ishrah sudurana lil Islam, wa nawwir qulubana bi nuril iman, واهدنا السبل السلام ونجنا من الظلمات إلى النور برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم الحمد لله رب العالمين. Whatever is good truly is from Allah and our Murshid. If not, it is from my own self. Again, I'd like to thank Brother Fikri and Brother Ali Fikri especially for preparing for today. Beautiful presentation, mashallah. In-depth study of the book, inshallah, and to all of you for taking time off on this very blessed Saturday to be here with us to know more about our Murshid. May we all live with our Murshid Habibullah Shah's light in our hearts, inshallah, and his love as well. And may that be a shield for us in this day and age. I'll hand this over back to Brother Ali, inshallah.
Okay, before we close, I would like to inform all of you that the book is available at the back and it is going for $25. Again, I cannot stress enough that this is something that all murids must have as well. Okay, I would even go as far as saying compulsory to have. Yeah, so it's a compulsory curriculum in that sense. So forgive me, Mushid, for saying that, but it is compulsory as far as I'm concerned. Okay, so please help yourselves and do the necessary for it. Inshallah. Can you close the yeah,
so inshallah, thank you everybody. So don't forget to sign up for the Centennial Celebration, inshallah. We are looking forward to be having the Futuhatul Habibiyah, right? When is it coming? December 10th, we'll be receiving the stocks. But the book will be made available only on December 14 onwards, inshallah. Because from 10 to 14, we're keeping it and making a lot of dua. And, anticipation. So, if you have, I thank you all for signing up as well, for signing up for the Centennial Celebration. And some of you even bought multiple tickets, mashallah. It's not recorded, eh? Oh, no, I mean the lights, tak ada? Oh, but it's still continuing, eh? Okay. So don't forget to register, and I'd like to thank all of you for all of your support. In many ways, the volunteers have put in so much work for this, and everybody who has been supporting in many ways, in the finance, the this, the that. May Allah bless all of you and make it easy for all of you. May this, your helping hand in this work bring more barakah in your life, inshallah, and that may your descendants also be the lovers of Khwaja Habeebullah Shah, and that this would be the revival of this legacy, especially for this region in Singapore and Malaysia, inshallah, and Indonesia. For our Murshid Habibullah Shah came for us, inshallah, and we hope that it continues, inshallah. And so if you have friends who are interested, now that you have this knowledge, inshallah, hey, you look lost, come, let's have kopi. Or like what I've learned, lim kopi. And then you bring this book and you say, this is your answer. Oh, this one's so old, nothing here. What? So I did, the English also so old. I tell you. You see, you got problem, right? Yeah, you don't know where you come from, right? Let me explain to you. Then after that, it's like sales pitch lah. So how do I go? What do I need? We got the sheikh. What you mean sheikh? You mean like cult, is it? Cult won't do it at King George, open lah. The cult will do it at somewhere in the lorong, right? The cult won't do openly at the masjid. It's not a cult. Right? Just because you ask them to sit with people, it becomes a cult. But sit with friends at, cafes and all, that's not cultish. That's more cultish. Then you call your group of friends tribe. These are my tribe. Itu lagi cult, say. At least we have a lineage. You get what I'm trying to say? These are my tribe. This is my... You're calling your friends villagers. Itu lagi dahsyat. Right? So the utopian, secular utopian mind takes away all the good things from the traditional world that has been helping us, taking care of us. Then what you tell them, actually, the answer for all of your problems in life lies with La ilaha illallah. What you mean? You sound like those people who forced me to convert. Like at the park, you go, then you tell them at the park, this is the Quran. No, you need to repeat. Like, they tell you in all this new age thing, you need to keep repeating, right? Reaffirm your intention. I speak to the universe around me. And datang nanti syaitan. Syaitan, yes, I am the universe around you. Then he also come and he create was-was. But when you say, I affirm with La ilaha illallah, then you talk about vision board. Kan don't talk about vision board kan? Ada vision board here. What's the vision board? The stages lah bro. Your vision of being fana is here. Then they talk about what? You must lead a life like a productive entrepreneur. How you lead your life like a suluk, you be productive. It's all here. It's whether you see it with the eyes of ilm or we see it with the eyes of ego. So, nothing lah. I got, Anthony Robbins, bro. Oh, this one doesn't teach me about finance. Are you sure or not? If you take away, example, excessive eating, the gluttony, etc., your finance also will become better. You won't be wasting. You won't leave the room with the fan on pipe running, taking wudu, excessive water. All that is being taught here. It's just how you want to understand this and whether we're reflecting on it or not. So with that, inshallah, you have 1 week. I have 200 copies. Am I right? 200 copies, right? Yes. How many people in the room? Huh? 20. One person buy 10 books, go and give it away. Don't give it at the MRT station, Go and ask your friend. Right? Last time you all got all this NUS friend. Hey, you all look lost, come. That's what the murids of Sheikh Hisham do. They buy his books. They buy a lot and then they give it away. For you all it's different. Murshid gives it away. How many PFAH have I given away? A lot. When you go to Australia, never mind, just take. Because it's meant to be given away. After that I realized, how come this one don't tell you? Oh yeah, gave away. Okay, people are reading. Sell below cost, whatever. Now Murid's turn to do lah. Murshid, where to find 10 people? You got 5,000 friends on your IG. You get what I'm trying to say? Oh, Murshid, you do give away lah. I always do give away MHOH. Expensive books also I give away. I've done my part in giving away. Short of giving away what I have on only. Please don't make me do that. Right? So it's time for us to do da'wah, go out to reach out to people. They need to know it, inshallah. Right? And who do you want to be preserved? Khwaja Habeebullah Shah. Inshallah. Okay? Yeah, inshallah. Oh, mashallah, tabarakallah. Oh, no. Mashallah, tabarakallah. Yes. Worship, yes. MashaAllah. 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 MashaAllah, tabarakallah. MashaAllah, tabarakallah. Alhamdulillah, mashallah, tabarakallah. Yes. MashaAllah, tabarakallah. Alhamdulillah. No, astaghfirullah, no. MashaAllah, tabarakallah. MashaAllah, tabarakallah. MashaAllah, tabarakallah. Inshallah, tabarakallah. Barakallah fikum, ya Allah bless your father as well and our murshid, inshallah, and open more doors of opening for our sister Salima, inshallah. Alhamdulillah. So thank you, Sister Salima. Thank you, everybody. I'm looking forward to the centennial, inshallah. And so, good. Alhamdulillah. I hope the makam is being preserved. That's the main hajat we have, is that it be preserved until forever, until Radia becomes 100 years old or something. You know what I'm trying to say? Yes, so, yes, some people are counting, yes. Yeah, khair, thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum.